Hello and welcome to another ETTO's Catch-Up. Today we're catching up about Marvel's Avengers, predominantly the campaign. Obviously we'll talk about combat and the rest of it, but mainly the single-player / multiplayer experience that you can experience. But you're going to be experiencing it with two people. Oh, Ayla in the chat has only watched Unlock Tony 5 minutes ago. Well, you'll probably want to leave once we've blown past the spoiler-free section of the podcast.
Yes.
Which I think we might as well get into. And by spoiler free, it's basically always the same question of, did we enjoy it?
And yes.
Yeah.
I very, very much did. As we'll get into, my final mission was filled with bugs. I think my PlayStation I don't know what happened just in the final mission, but my PlayStation tanked. My goodness. But we'll get into that later.
We will.
But it wasn't entirely unplayable. I'll explain some of the things that happened. But it definitely wasn't unplayable, and I'm pretty patient when it comes to games, especially games late in a generation on the OG version of the console.
Totally.
Kind of have to be a little bit forgiving. But yeah, I have enjoyed the crap out of this, and will continue to into the post-game. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I think the campaign was great. Obviously very corny, but it's a superhero thing. It's going to be corny. I thought they did a really, really good job of finding a good balance of obviously taking a lot of inspiration from the movies, but also finding their own footing in, like, it's very much not the MCU. And it's also very much not the comic universe. Because the funny thing with the comics universe is it never really has time to be a universe, because there's always a world-ending event, and then that world-ending event gets fixed up within like 6 issues. Whereas this feels like already a universe that suffered a big loss, and they're going to continue to try and get back to a norm that we haven't even been able to see outside of the A-Day mission. So it feels like a version of Marvel that's not in the comics and it's not in the movies. So I've really got to commend them for that in the 10-hour campaign, because it's only very short.
Because it's a video game, they have more time to be able to do that, and they kind of leave it up to you, because you can just charge through, you can just keep going, but it is a little bit more lived in, I guess. Both told through story, but also like you can just walk around the helicarrier. Totally. You can go into people's rooms, you can check out what they've got, you can try and lift Thor's hammer as all the different characters, and they've all got different quips about trying to do it.
Except for Captain America, because he's dead. Don't forget. Captain America's dead, because we're in the spoiler-free section. Captain America's dead.
He is very dead. There's so much in here, like visual storytelling and obviously audio storytelling, just through quips and through like little conversations that you can have. Just even walking past people, you can walk into a room where there's TVs with the news on constantly, and the guy is always reporting on the last mission that you did.
Yeah.
It's so cool. They're like, something happened in Utah.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, you're not even in Utah, but you're reporting about it. This is awesome. This is so cool. It's such a cool little kind of bunch of things. Yeah, I really dig it.
Yeah, it's really, really well written. And then on the other side of it is something that I said to you probably after like only 2 days with the game, is that it's just, the combat is just fun. It's like, you can get deeper into it, obviously, and, you know, there's 9 skill trees, or more, depending on the characters.
Something like that.
So you can get deep and customize it the way you want to, and obviously all the different characters, like Widow and Iron Man, have different options for their weapons and stuff. Like, there's plenty to do, but just button mashing and then occasionally thinking about the button that you're mashing is so much fun that I after each harm room and after each war zone, I felt good. Like, I felt like for the first time in a video game in a long time, I just had fun.
The only thing is, like, with some of the war zones or just the general missions, they do sometimes feel like they end quite abruptly. Yeah. Like, it's just like, you're done. It does feel a little bit weird in that, but in general, like, just focusing on gameplay, it is. It's
so much fun.
It's just arcadey, button mashy, like, beat 'em up fun. It's awesome.
And it helps that, like, and I mean, this is something to talk about later on, but in terms of the visuals and the actual design of the animations of the combat, it's very heavily just like, remember that bit in Age of Ultron where the Hulkbuster just to be blunt, all the Hulkbuster's moves are from Age of Ultron, like 100%. It's really, it's a sense of familiarity that kind of grounds the characters, because we're used to seeing them behave in a certain way, and it's very well done. I will say there's lots of glitches, but in terms of actual animations, apart from like 7 characters attacking the same thing at the same time when everyone just kind of pushes through each other, apart from there, the animations are super clean. They're so fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe like a little bit more framey on my side playing on the standard PlayStation, but I can imagine on like a better console, I guess, more powerful console. This thing would just be butter.
I feel like that's enough on spoiler free. I've got a full breakdown of the campaign where we're going to go well in depth to everything. So if you haven't played the game in full and you care about spoilers, please leave, because now that we've said it, we can't get in trouble. So the campaign itself, it's pretty lengthy. There's a lot of missions. I wouldn't say lengthy, but let's just start with the good one, which is A-Day. We open with Kamala heading to A-Day, which has a fan fiction competition, which is super fun. She's going to submit it, hopefully win. And here she meets all the Avengers. And look, I feel like, obviously they've had this prepared long before the beta. This is like the best possible way for anyone who played the beta and was like, this sucks, to then play this. It's like, oh, it's a real video game. Like, just getting to experience moment to moment, like, NPC interactions and stuff. It's like, I feel like, because a lot of people were worried the game's story was just going to be tacked on to just a horde mode of a video game. And this is just like, oh, they actually have a plan. Yeah,
it had a lot of heart, I think, to it. Like, her just walking around, like, with her dad or bumping into her dad as she goes around collecting all these comics, and then you run into like other people trying to collect all the comics. There's a point where one guy has doubles of one but can't get one of the other ones, and then you end up with doubles of one of them, so then you trade and then you get all of them. And there's like just a whole bunch of different cool, like really awesome little interactions that is just like, man, this is just gonna be so enjoyable. Like they've clearly thought about this, they've written it properly. Like they've written great dialogue, great NPC side dialogue as you walk past people and stuff. Like it's they did that really well. It was a great chill opening.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously removing the combat aspect, which is the entire game, which is quite funny. You start the game doing the one thing you'll never do again, which is walking. Obviously walk through bits and pieces. Just speaking on the NPCs, I've just got 2 that I noticed, which are very good. Obviously, after you talk to Thor, he's kind of standing there and a fan says, they ask about his hair, and Thor says, well, I had to tie it back like this as people didn't like it long. And the fan replies, yeah, probably easier to market, which is obviously coming off the back of the first demo when everyone hated the hair.
Very good.
Which is very funny.
That's awesome.
And then obviously after you talk to Cap, and Widow, as they walk away, 2 fans kind of get to them and they have a quick interaction, and one of the last things that one of the fans says is, I'm single, and then they just walk away awkwardly, and the other guy's like, dude, I'm single? Really? And it's very funny.
It's brilliant.
I'm sure there's like thousands of bits we missed, because kind of beyond that bit, I wasn't paying attention to the NPCs. I'm like, I just want to play this game now.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was walking around, and sometimes I'd walk past the table, and there would be a collectible or something, and then I'm like, oh no, how many collectibles am I going to miss in this area?
Yeah, totally.
Like, I can't come back to this.
Yeah,
I have to get them all now.
Yeah.
So then I'd walk around, and I'm like, no, I really should keep playing. Just keep going. Forget it. It's fine. Anything that you collect now is going to be outdated later. Like it's all good. You'll get it later.
I think you might have said it as well. I want this at Disneyland or like at like Supernova and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So like sick. Just to walk around, complete a challenge, collect a comic book, move on. What a cool idea. It's so sick.
Good. It's very adorable. It's very pre-COVID universe. But as it rolls on, I love that, like, she's watching this, like, Captain America giving a big speech about the future of mankind and how this scientific discovery, and then Tony Stark just appears with rock music, and he appears next to you on the gangway. Oh, it's so sick. It's such a great reveal of Iron Man. It's so much fun.
Yeah, he's such a cheeky man.
But obviously it then rolls on, just like
Yes.
the beta, we get the kind of moment-to-moment bits with the Avengers, giving a little element of each of them. I feel like we almost don't need to discuss this, because it's been discussed to death over the past 2 years. It's great, it's really cool, and I wish there was more of it, I think is the main thing. I wish the single-player campaign felt as single-player as that more often. Because kind of there's like maybe 6 missions that feel as grounded as this, and the rest of them are just basically Warzone kind of missions that have cutscenes tacked on either side, which is fine. But I think I would have liked 1 or 2 more of these kind of solo missions.
Yeah, fair enough. Because we basically, it's kind of the beginning and a little bit of the end.
Yeah. And obviously,
Kind of.
as each character comes in, there's a little bit of solo-ness to it.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, everything goes wrong. You've seen the trailers. The helicarrier explodes. Everything goes bad. Inhumans are born. Banner says it's all the Avengers' fault, and they all go into hiding. It's all sad. Then we skip, and basically they're all back out of hiding within about an hour. But we got a really cool mission with Kamala called The New Normal, which is her in her house. She hacks into the mainframe by typing in "I am Iron Man," which is both funny and a little bit dumb.
Yeah.
I like it as a gag, but
And I did like that later when she told him, he's like, oh, I thought I changed that.
That's very good.
It's pretty good.
By doing this, she's hacking into AIM. She steals the recordings of the helicarrier when it was going down. But a lot of it gets corrupted. AIM is apparently coming after her. Tiny Dancer, we get our first mention of Tiny Dancer telling her to, as I've written here, it goes, she hacks into Tony's account with I am Iron Man, but Tiny Dancer tells her to get out of there. So with one secret hiding spot ruined, she then goes to her other secret hiding spot, only for that to also be ruined. It's like, you'd think she'd just go somewhere that wouldn't pertain to herself. But she went from her house to the only other place that she can call home. It was cool seeing a bit of an open world in this, because a lot of the time you're stuck to the ground level, even though there are rooftops. A lot of the time the ceiling cap is quite short. Quite low, I should say. So it was pretty cool bounding between rooftops. Although, in this same mission, we get a bit where some people like, oh, Inhumans suck, you all suck. And then she punches them with a fist and she's quite shocked. It's very weird. They gloss over the fact that she gets powers from the incident. It's just kind of like, it's not even addressed till later in the thing. It's just kind of like, it's quite weird.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Like, as you are going through the city, like she does stretch up to lift herself up things, and if you didn't know what her powers were or hadn't seen much about this game before, you'd be like, the hell was that animation?
Totally.
Like, what did they do to her?
They broke it.
Yeah, it was super weird. The one thing I was going to say is this is, I think it was 5 years later after A-Day. So she's a bit more of a teenager now, a little bit more mature, but still just a total fangirl.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it is pretty funny. Yeah. It almost reinforces the fact that Ant-Man's daughter could look like that in Endgame. Like,
yes,
that is how humans age. But yeah, it was a pretty cool mission. Lots of little bits of not nostalgia, just fan wank everywhere. I mean, there was a Captain Marvel poster of her in her Miss Marvel costume, and I said to you, I'm like, are they going to do that costume in the game? Because I feel like Marvel have tried to hide that a little bit, or at least make fun of it. So
yeah, totally. Like, I don't know if they'll make it a skin.
Yeah.
A little bit too sexy, maybe.
Skin?
Yes, a little bit too skin.
But cool that it was there, I guess.
Yeah, it was a nice little nod to her kind of OG, and then again, if you don't know the comics, it's a little bit of a nod to what Kamala Khan's costume / logo ends up being.
I was just about to say that's why it needs to be there. Otherwise, she would never come up with the thing. That totally makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, pretty solid mission. One thing I got to ask you, I don't know if you understood this more, but it seemed like maybe it was a field trip or a holiday to Utah that her dad's like, you should go to that. And then she's like, I don't want to go. I'm going to focus on this Avengers stuff. And then she realizes something's in Utah, so she goes there, but her family still doesn't know where she is.
So, because he said, like, go with your friend, and then later she calls and says, hey, Dad, I'm at the camp thing. I decided to go after all. Mm-hmm. And then I assume this plays out over a much longer period of time, or the dad contacts the friend and is like,
What's going
where's
on?
Kamala? And the friend's like, not with me.
Yep.
Something like that. I think you could probably explain it away, but they don't do it.
They definitely don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the father should be way more scared at the end of this. Although it's cool because he knows about her powers, which is really nice. So that's kind of just skipped over as well. I know people don't like that it's skipped over in the Spider-Mans, but shut up. But then we move on to her in Utah, which is kind of she tracks down something that leads her to the helicarrier, which is where the Hulk's been chilling for a bit. And he's a very grumpy boy, and there's a bit that's very reminiscent of the first Avengers movie, where you're running through the helicarrier, he's breaking stuff from behind you and stuff.
Yes.
Which is very cool, although I paused it for photo mode, and he wasn't behind us, which was a bit disappointing. But,
really?
Yeah, there's certain bits where he is, but for that kind of initial run, he's not there, which is a bit disappointing.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, because as I was running, I stopped just to see how I would die.
Yep.
Because, like, clearly Hulk's supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah, totally.
I'm running away from him as also a good guy. So I'm like, if I stop, is he just going to, like, tear me in half or something?
Like the Last of Us.
Or he's going to almost, like, Loki me and just slam me side to side. But when I stopped, I think, like, some pipes just fell on Kamala instead. So it was just, like, the rumbling ended up causing a problem. So Hulk wasn't a bad guy.
He didn't
tear me to shreds, but... I was kind of hoping that they would just go brutal, like you said, like The Last of Us.
Stretches her out, like it's just like chewing gum.
Yeah. Didn't even think of that.
It'd be pretty messed up. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little bit. I don't actually remember. They kind of fight on the top because AIM eventually finds them, and there's a little bit of rooftop thing. And then I think maybe she becomes unconscious. Yeah, she stretches too much, and she becomes unconscious, wakes up, Bruce is taking... some blood and doing a test. I mean, you get the first of many Bruce and Kamala scenes, which are some of the best in the entire campaign.
Always, so because she's just so excited and happy, but also like scared and worried, and he's just so calm and awkward. It's like every moment just with them together is so good.
It's so adorable. But then this rolls into, firstly, there's a bit where they're in the car. And there's a Hulk bubble and it's basically the scene from The Last of Us with what's his name, Joel and Ellie in the front seat, and she's drinking. It's the same scene. They did a little joke. It's very funny. But good on them. But then it rolls into the beta mission with Hulk and Kamala. This is again very much unchanged. There's no real extra story or anything going on. But the more times I play the mission, the more I like Hulk. But just flat out, I'm never going to play Hulk unless the game forces me to. I have no intention. The dude is I feel like he's a weaker version of Miss Marvel, basically. Like, he almost does everything she does, but slower.
Yeah. I think I would only play him to maybe unlock the things, like totally. as the completionist that I am.
I'll play him to level up the things and whatever, but I would never do it out of my own volition.
Yeah. Purely out of necessity. Yeah,
he's just... Dolphin says once you upgrade Hulk, he is good until you play as Capital Thor. Yeah, he's great until you play as any other hero. I agree. But it's a fun little mission. You switch between him and Kamala, so you get a bit more of Kamala's combat. I do want to talk about Kamala's combat, because I'm thinking, as we go, we can talk about the heroes introduced. But get a little bit of Kamala. It's quite funny, having played the beta, because there's so many things they try to explain or like teach you, and I'm like, no, I got the dodge button, I got the throw punches button. I almost wish there was like at the start, did you play the beta for 70 hours? Press this button. So you can skip all the tutorials, because they still explain away everything.
Oh yes.
But yeah, it's a fun little mission. You get Jarvis, who is still a solid state drive, just kind of chilling. And we found out, I can't remember who, from Syntax, I think, that if you ripped one of those out, Jarvis is dead. Like, Jarvis, it was still running. Like, Jarvis is probably dead.
Well, game logic, right?
Comic book logic. Totally.
That too.
But yeah, it's a cool mission. You fight Abomination. I think I would love to have seen more boss battles with big bads. Like, it's kind of just Abomination and MODOK at the end. Then you just get big versions of a lot of things. And, like, Taskmaster at the start. I kind of expected more, although they have said with each DLC, it's like 2 heroes and a baddie, so I guess that's where we'll get them. But
Yeah. I think they were talking about that on the Weekly Planet today or tonight, whenever they release their episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, they were basically like, is there more than just like Abomination, Taskmaster, and MODOK?
Yeah.
We're like, man, I don't think so. But
well, in
soon.
the war mission table bullshit, because cloning is kind of the big takeaway from the whole campaign, there is clones of Abomination, Taskmaster, and not MODOK, I think Monica as well. They pop up and they're kind of so you can keep battling them. They've got clones of them
Sure.
in some extra missions. So if you want to do that, no one wants to do that. The next one is the best mission in the game. But before we do that, I just want to talk about Kamala's comeback, because we definitely touched on Hulk. But Kamala, how do you find her as a hero?
I don't know. I go in and out of liking her, I guess. Like, she's fun and stretchy and stuff, but I think I really like the precision of Black Widow out of anyone.
Oh, it's just the best.
Just so, yeah, such precision. Her and maybe Cap.
Cap's pretty fun.
Even though he's dead. He's dead, though.
He's dead, though.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely.
He would never come back.
No.
But yeah, I think I go in and out of kind of liking her. I think she would be the next one that I don't play as much.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you think?
I like her. I think it's the same thing. She's definitely the lowest on the rank. I think the more you upgrade her, because one of the things that I loved upgrading in the beta was her ability to grab the characters and kind of sling them around, kind of like the Hulk, because it's basically the same hero.
Yes.
I feel like, yeah, and it's another hero like the Hulk. The more you level them up, the more you put time into them, I'm sure it'll be great. But it just feels like, yeah, she's the weaker version of a lot of characters. And that's kind of the point. Like, it is the point that she's taking on a lot of the powers. Like, almost all her moveset is based on another hero in the game. So it makes sense that she feels a little bit samey. But I guess the biggest thing with her is her heal ability. So that's very good. Yeah. Especially, it feels like, because she is a healer, it feels like if you're playing with friends, at least one of you needs to play as her so that you can just jump in the heat of battle and just go, blah! And then everyone's not dead anymore.
Yeah, that's what Dolphin Pants just said in the chat. Her team here would be very useful online.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yes, she is the healer of the group. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I'm sure she's super useful online. But in terms of the campaign, at the same time, very happy that she's the protagonist of this game. I feel like that was a very, very good choice.
Yes, very much. She kept everything really grounded, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, she kept them in check as well, which was quite fun.
She really does. Far out. She's great.
She's so good. I feel like the MCU or, Feige's going to have to play catch up with this game now, because her series is obviously a few years away. So they're going to find a new niche to deal with Miss Marvel. Obviously, the universe is very different. She's fun, but I think you need a lot more time with her, whereas a lot of the other characters are fun from the off. But moving on, yes, to the best mission in the game. I skipped the Tundra mission from the beta, where you go and find some information that helps you find Tony. We're skipping that.
That's fine.
We've played that enough. So yeah, you're heading to find Stark at his little mansion, which is also in Utah, because everything's kind of just in Utah.
It's all there, apparently.
It's pretty fun. There's some cool traversal up front where it feels like one of the few times they actually made use of Miss Marvel's traversal, where you kind of run and jump towards things, and there's lots of trees to swing off, and that was really great. Again, I really wish they focused more on these types of missions where you actually use the characters in a unique way, less just bashing things.
Almost like platforming kind of stuff.
Totally. It was really, really fun. And like having Bruce down on the ground, like, Ellie, can you go fix the bridge? Because I can't get up there, Ellie. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they eventually get to Tony. There's a little tiff, which is fine. But as I said to you, it feels like the game has given you no reason. I mean, eventually does, obviously, because Banner kind of went behind the Avengers' back to make them all illegal. He basically made the Accords on his own. But at the same time, at this point, it's like, unless you knew them from the MCU and the comics, it's like, this fight is so silly. I don't know why you're fighting. Yeah.
And I think you and I are also saying that it's almost uncomfortable to listen to, because the two actors, Nolan North, Tony Stark, and Troy Baker being Bruce Banner, they're fighting in real life. Like, they're generally best friends.
Yeah.
But they're currently not. Troy Baker left their joint YouTube channel to go do something else. Yeah, it's all weird with them. And so them fighting in this, and like you clearly know, you can hear their voices. It's so just them. Especially Nolan North. But it's just like, I don't know, it's uncomfortable to listen to when you know they're real world fighting. And also like, I feel like in the movies, it's always Cap and Tony fighting. So the fact that it's Bruce and Tony, it's even more like emphasized. Because in this, Tony and Cap are best buds. Like, they love each other. Comparative to Bruce and Tony. It was a little bit... I mean, Cap's dead, though. But it was a little bit awkward. I will say I wish they just went for AC/DC. I know they skirted around it. We get some Iron Maiden later in the game, which is fun. But I'm like, just... get what... I know you're trying to be different. I know you're trying to be extra. But just use AC/DC, because the rock they used that he was playing out of his caravan, I was like, that's just noise. That doesn't even sound like a song. That sounds like the thing in a video game when they need rock music. It's just kind of noise. Well, I guess the closest is it Iron... No, it's not Iron Maiden that do I Am Iron Man, is it?
That's Ozzy Osbourne's band. What's
Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what his band was. Crap.
That's fine. But yeah, so this mission is called House Call, and eventually you get Iron Man on your side, and he looks at the files, he lets you know there is more to the files than you've been able to get from, which is very exciting. And when they eventually get the rest of the data off the files, I forgot that was a thing going on until they're like, hey, we got the files. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, the files. And he says I would have gone for Rocket Man, which was very good. There's some great, like, I can hear Robert Downey Jr. saying these words moments, which are really fun.
Or you could read them, like you could imagine them in a comic book.
Yeah, absolutely.
The side things. It's like the later Avengers movies, like from freaking Ultron onwards. Yeah, totally. Is when they just start dropping these little bits. I watched Ultron like days ago, so it's fresh in my mind. Just dropping those little comic book side comments. So good. Black Sabbath as well, by the way.
Black Sabbath, that's the one.
Yes.
Yeah. Good talk. No, it wasn't. But yeah, freaking great. The other bit that I love is when she gives him the USB, he's like, we really buried the lead there. You could have started with that. Like, that's pretty great. But yes, this rolls into Tony dropping out of the bottom of his caravan into his house, picking up all bits of Iron Man armor, suiting up. It was so cool, and a great way to like slowly drip feed how to use his character as well, because you learn how to use the repulsors, then the boots, and it's just very, very cool, and it all eventually opens up into this big all-out thing with a bunch of AIM droids and stuff, and he's in this shitty costume. It was so cool. It was so
it's like
fun.
Barely even armor. Yeah. It's like a literal helmet with like that has some glasses on the front, basically, and then just kind of a couple of bare gloves and like some boots with thrusters on them. That's it. Like barely has anything. It's so great.
It was so much fun. It's, you know, a little bit mechanic from Iron Man 3, which is...
Yes.
We will never say no to.
Very much so. Oh, yes.
Again, I've got the comment of just that I wish this is the kind of game it should have been. It almost feels like the game they wanted to make, and maybe somewhere down the line someone was like, let's make it a games as a service. And then they kind of just spun it out into that. Because, there's so much potential, especially with these voice actors. It almost feels wrong to have put them in a games as a service game. Like, to assemble this mighty team and then go, you'll say, like, it's clobbering time. That's the thing. I said the wrong thing. It almost feels a bit weird, but...
Not right at all.
No. But yeah, I don't know. Have you got anything else to say about this freaking great mission?
It's a great way. Like you said, they drip feed that way of controlling him, which is also super helpful later when you control other flying characters like Thor, basically. So you already know how to control Thor because you've learned how to control Iron Man. They basically control the same way.
That's a very good point. They really didn't even bother teaching you that. That's very
not much at all, no.
That was super, super fun mission. And also, as it's his first one, Iron Man as a character... I didn't quite like him in the beta, but he's so much fun in this. Like, once you understand the way he can chain attacks, and once you I will say I love the skill trees, but they do them the wrong way, which is unlocking moves that you should already have, like a ground pound and stuff like that. That shouldn't be in the skill tree. You should already do that. But once you've unlocked those basic moves, it's so much fun. Like you can. If I could work out how to fire while you're in flight, then I'd be set, because that still doesn't make any sense to me. Because by the time you've seen the red reticule, they're already like behind you, and you're like, oh well, fuck it.
Yeah, they need to be quite far away for you to actually be able to aim at them properly. Otherwise it's just nope. Yeah. Just don't even bother. You got to stop, float, try and shoot them with your repulsors, and then get shot out of the sky, because that's all that ever happens. Yeah,
that is one thing I've seen a lot of people saying on the Reddit and stuff, is that Thor has kind of got it. Iron Man needs a recovery button. Like a lot of games, just an in-air, press X, and he kind of re-hovers before you hit the ground. He needs one. It's also fun, Iron Man. He's got lasers and also rockets, and they replace your triangle attack, so it's quite fun mixing and matching them. Just beware when you use the rockets and you press triangle, you've got like a 5-second window before you can do it again. It's very slow, which I didn't realize until way too late. But this is the character you're wearing on your chest, you're drinking from and sitting on. What'd you think of him?
He was a lot of fun. He's definitely the character I've spent the most time with, especially today. I had a very, very long wait for my for an update at work for a game, so I basically just played that while I was waiting. And I'm very high level on him now. I was trying to do his daily and weekly challenges all today, but yeah, he's just a lot of freaking fun. And yeah, his little quips, a lot of the quips in the game are getting a little bit tiresome now, but you know, they're always fun, and it's nice to hear Nolan North.
Yeah.
He's good
fun. He's good fun. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where they take his character, because I'm intrigued to know if there'll be more missions, because they've obviously got the iconic storyline that you kind of go through. For each character. I'm just intrigued if there will be anything specifically for those characters again, as they bring in new characters and obviously focus on them. I hope there is an Iron Man, obviously when War Machine arrives, they'll give something, but just like an OG content drop for these characters so that they don't get left in the dust would be really nice. But yes, the next mission is called Armor Chase, and it's probably the strangest mission in the game. We won't talk about it too long. It starts off with him just kind of flying around, and then you have a quick bit where you kind of punch people for a bit, and then it turns into a time trial, and then it's over. It's very strange.
That mission is very quick. I would love for there to be more time trial-y things like that, like side missions where you are going through somewhere, you've got to like dodge falling debris or
like
whatever.
Like the VR kind of thing, with the flight challenges and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's very quick. They don't explain much. You don't do much.
No.
And it's over.
And the mission is about him getting stuff to be able to build armor, but just before you do the mission, a little like cosmetic item pops up that he's got an armor that you can wear now, and I'm like, well, why am I doing the thing?
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah. And around the same time, I think he gets the fabrication unit that just builds you stuff anyway. So it's like, you already have that. You don't need to go nearly kill yourself to get new armor. Just fabricate more.
3D print one, mate. What are you doing?
Very strange.
Then you're alone against AIM, which is the arc reactor takedown mission from the beta, which we played, which you can check out on the YouTube channel. It's fun. I really enjoy the ones. I mean, might as well quickly talk, because there's quite a few of these that pop up, which is where there are bits that you have to just basically attack. And once you've gotten them down, that's the end of the mission. Do you like that as a style of mission? Obviously, you get real attacked from the behind, but apart from that, it's good fun.
Like, a lot of those I seem to just rush and try and avoid the enemies.
Yeah, totally.
Just beat the crap out of all the targets, and then generally if you do that,
the mission's over.
The mission's just over, or they all just die. There was one where I like did it all, and it caused this huge shockwave that killed everyone except me.
Yep. Who is
like, why didn't I get damaged? Very strange, but yeah.
I quite liked him. I also liked and hated the inclusion of having to hold down square and pull out a thing to destroy. It was like just an extra bit of screw you game, but also this is just a bit more challenge. That's fine.
Yeah, and when you do that, if you like pull it out and then an enemy starts attacking you and then you attack them, the thing goes back in. It's like, damn it,
God damn
stop it.
Also, yeah, Dolphin Pants points out in the thing, there are a few missions where that happened, where a cutscene would play out and I hadn't killed everyone. So the enemies are just kind of in the background, just kind of going, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, they beat us. Good job. Yeah. They're pretty good.
What a shame.
Those Avengers, not bad.
What a shame.
We're on the wrong side of history here.
Yeah. Oh man, you hear that one a bit in this freaking game. It's a fun little mission. We then roll into the Dogs of War, which is basically the opening of Rise of the Tomb Raider, where you run along those like rock cliff faces. I mean, it's the same engine. They probably copied the same assets. It's probably happened, but this one is basically an excuse to punch some things and ends with an Inhuman breaching through and picking up Bruce and Kamala and taking him to the anthill, where we meet Hank Pym, who's both really exciting because it's like, oh, I can see this guy's going to be a baddie eventually. Oh, this is great. And the other half of me is like, oh, I don't think the voice actor gave a shit the whole time.
Yeah, I was really nervous I was suspicious, maybe not nervous, that he was going to end up being evil because he's just so strangely calm.
Yep, the whole thing.
And like, yeah, so softly spoken. So it's like, I feel like he's going to be bad.
Yeah.
That mission as well, just before the person comes through and takes you through the portal.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble with that. Not a lot, but like I died a bunch doing that mission. There was a couple, the ice guys specifically. So I died like a bunch of times doing that mission.
Anything cryo is just the worst in this game.
Yes.
Anything cryo-based is just the worst. I mean, the weird thing is, in that Tundra mission early on, it's like, make sure you put in the right gear that's going to combat. No gear has the friggin' ice thing on it.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not even try and look at that. That's like, that's going too deep for me. I don't care that much.
No, as long as it punches hard.
Just give me a big armor number and then we're good.
Yeah. Friggin', oh god. Yeah, I totally understand. I don't think I died. The only ones I died was as it went on. I feel like from the Widow level onwards, things got real tough. The final boss battle, even though I didn't do the die, it's friggin' tricky. But we'll get to that. But yes, something I'll quickly mention. It's in my extra bits, but we'll get to it now because we're at the anthill. Sure. Hank got a bunch of androids, and he made one called Roy, who kind of tends to all the things. Is just a little chirpy boy. Did you like Roy?
Yeah, for the little amount that he was in it, he was pretty funny. Like it was a good little. It was probably one of the most interesting parts of the anthill, really.
Yeah. Oh man, as Dingo says, it was just a bit of a bore. Also, the woman down the bottom that just keeps making puns and shit every time I walk past her. Go away, mate. Another one that's like, hey. Just kidding. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? But the reason I wanted to skip to my extra bits is that Roy is totally Ultron. Let's go through it. This is as Kamala, because this is the next mission, Kamala kind of escapes from the anthill. He says, one day I wish to surpass even Jarvis. He's got multiple clone bodies. He's creepy as shit in that scene when they're all kind of walking around. And he's made by Hank Pym. That
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, especially, far out.
I spelled Roy backwards, it spells Ultron. Very good, Dolphin fan. He's totally Ultron.
Wow. Yeah, cool.
Which adds a little bit of kick to it all.
Absolutely, yeah. I had not even come close to thinking of that. That's awesome. It makes more sense as to why they why they put such an emphasis on him and why you run into him. Like, they introduce him and then you run into him and very much have to have a conversation with him for a sec. Totally. And I love that where he's like, I'm going to tell Hank Pym or Dr. Pym.
Yeah.
She's like, can you not? Certainly,
yeah.
And just doesn't.
Very cute. Did you talk to the other ones as well as you went through?
No.
Yeah, so all of them have their own unique little bit to talk about.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Which maybe that helped my Ultron theory, because, there's lots of little twinkles, but there you go. But she escapes into, what's the mission called? Breakout, and then to stand alone. She seeks out a base which has a bunch of Inhumans in it, but she gets captured, so kind of she messes up there. And then we cut to Widow, who's in a super cool costume that I really hope somehow eventually comes to the game. I don't know how it's not one of the costumes. It doesn't really make sense to me that it isn't one. But
you can't wear it again?
you can't wear the one with the AIM costume, which is very much formed to Black Widow's body, because no other AIM agent looks like that.
Damn. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yes, for me, Dolphin Pants one did not have hair. Mine did have hair. Don't worry, Dolphin Pants.
Yes.
Quickly.
In my final mission, Thor lost his hair like that too.
Okay, cool. I was going to say, hair trouble seems to be a big thing, because in the beta for me, Kamala in A-Day had no hair. But obviously she's not in it that much in the beta. But yeah, in the few bits we see of her, no hair at all. But that was back for that. But yeah, Dolphin Pants had no hair. I feel like Dingo might have. You had no hair. Ironically, Thor has a pop vinyl where he is bald. So you got a sneak peek at that costume.
Okay, that's interesting.
This mission was pretty cool. The Kamala stuff kind of doesn't matter. The Widow stuff, we got some cool traversal with her kind of ziplining through the factory where all the AIM droids are made. And then you get this sick moment where you see all the AIM droids kind of floating past and stuff. That was so cool. It was visually sick.
Yeah, that was such a cool set piece.
Yeah.
Like, very, very cool design and reveal of all that. Mm-hmm. Very sick, yeah.
I wish, because she doesn't do anything there. I kept waiting for a dialogue moment, but she just walks through it. That's why I spent so much time doing photos in there, because she just walks through the entire thing to get to the next part of the level. I kind of expected her to say something, but it's fine. It's fine.
There's no surprise. Yeah.
She's like, yeah, cool. Lots of these. And then, yeah, she gets to Monica. That's her name, right? I think so. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what you said earlier.
Yeah, before. There's a little battle with her. She takes her down. There's a boss battle with her. That was one of the easiest boss battles in the game. That was phenomenally easy, which was very strange.
Yeah. You just... Most of the time, I think if you just keep your distance
just
from the dude and just shoot at it.
Yeah.
So those guns, so good.
Oh, they're so good.
And I love her guns.
You can get charged versions, and you can get a super shot and a SMG. It's great. But yeah, it's a very weird boss battle. But after that, she goes back to MODOK. MODOK's like, "You suck!" and then just blows her up, basically. But it's fine. She cloned herself. There's lots of her. It's fine. We're all good. There's millions of Monicas. But while we're here, actually, we should say the end of that mission where all the Inhumans break out, you get a great set piece of all of them fighting all the AIM agents, and Black Widow and Kamala have a quick moment where Kamala wants to go home. And I'm like, how are you getting home, Kamala? Where are you going inside the base that is going to get you home? That's a bit weird.
A little bit.
You said something about them being badasses. They didn't say it. You just mean in general?
See, that's when you got mad at me. I'm like, but I didn't say anything. Yeah. I really didn't spoil anything.
Expectations up high.
It was basically just their chat at the end. I was just like, because she was sad, and then Black Widow's like, "Oh, you're gonna be okay," and they're just encouraging and nice to each other. I'm like, they're so cool. Yeah. They're so cool. Cool. I didn't spoil anything. No. They're just cool. Okay.
You didn't at all. It was fine. It was mainly just the layout of the game. I thought Thor might be next. Right. And he kind of is now.
Segue.
Nailed it. In once an Avenger, they're basically AIM wants to bomb the city, but they're going to do that by crashing the helicarrier into it, because they attack the helicarrier first. Look, a lot of things happen in this game. They never really go in deep until something exciting happens, and you're like, okay, I guess this is what's happening now.
I felt like from that point on, things maybe rushed a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to the huge things to do with AIM attacking all of the Avengers. Because then there's the mission, the other best mission in the game, which we're about to talk about. But anything around that, it's just I almost struggled to keep up and know what was happening, because I don't know, suddenly, like I said to you the other day, suddenly I was at the last mission of the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? When? How did I get here? It seemed like they almost crashed the thing into Manhattan.
Yeah.
Best mission of the game.
And
last mission of the game.
Yeah, totally.
What? It is so strange. I feel like there could have been so much more in between that. Or just a couple more missions to get to that point. But it just I don't know, it kind of escalated very quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, they're great 3 missions. They are the best missions in the game, barring the Iron Man one. But yeah, it's a cool little mission. Things go wrong. Thor rejoins the fight just for that mission, and then just goes away for a bit, and then he's just kind of back. It's very weird.
It is funny. I like that his outfit, he was like, they've been like, where were you? And he's like, I've been helping people.
Yeah.
And his costume is literally a couple of wings with volunteer written on the back of the t-shirt. So he's obviously been volunteering at a homeless shelter or something.
Yeah, it's so good. With a D. Blake on it, and very good little references.
Yes.
But yeah, there was a pretty cool fight. It was fun to finally get more combat with Thor. And he's very swishy. I almost died a lot of times in that mission. There's just a lot of attacking from all sides in that one, where you're trying to take down the little warbots and the shields and everything. Yeah, it's just, and as we will get to with Dingo's comments, it does sometimes feels like they really should have worked on the AI a bit more, because the AI do not care about you until you're dead. The AI will not help you. Yeah,
we're all hitting this. Don't be hitting like the little spam bots.
The pointless dudes, yeah.
Yeah, come help me do the mission.
It's very weird. Look, it literally just needs a ping system. And it needs a ping system on all the doors that can't be opened unless you're Hulk and Kamala and Thor. Don't lock those away. I don't get it. Or like the friggin' data pads that you can't tap unless you're Tony, basically. Why? Or why?
It would be so good to get that ability to be the leader of the group and be like, hit this, go here, everyone, we're attacking this enemy right now.
Watch them give that ability just to Cap, so you have to be Cap to be able to point things out.
Bloody hell, probably.
But yeah, that mission kind of goes along. It's a big one because at the end of it, we get... So basically the way it goes, AIM almost crashes the helicarrier, Thor almost comes back, and Bruce and Tony almost kill each other. They have a big old tiff with each other, which was sick, but I wish that we got to do that.
There was a couple of moments like that.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things that I'm like, can I do this? Yeah. Like, can you just give me some QuickTime events or something? Yeah. Like, just some little, I don't know, I don't care. Just let me interact with this just a little bit.
Let me see it happen. Because, I mean, the Kamala bit of her walking around the damaged helicarrier, I love apart from Utah, I love the way they managed to reuse sets and locations multiple times and still make them feel a little bit different. There's obviously a lot of areas they just go nighttime and you're already like, yeah, no, this is a different place. But then, like, the helicarrier itself, as they said in multiple war tables, it evolves throughout the course of the mission, slowly getting shield agents that can help you with factions and all that kind of stuff. And the same with the anthill and all that. I really love the way they make samey environments feel different. But yes, let me hit Hulk with my fist.
Yeah, for sure. I did find that funny now that we're talking about the Chimera or the helicarrier. How they introduce all the shield agents. Yeah. And then I think the next mission after that is, the whole thing is destroyed. Everyone's left and it's just Kamala. She's the only one on the whole helicarrier that's left. It's like, all right, guys. And then, there's 2 missions till the end of the game? Yeah. It's like, what? Guys, what are you doing?
It's very odd. I mean,
slow down.
It almost feels like they should have made the iconic mission chains mandatory just to flesh out the middle bits. Like, find reasons, like, it's side missions in a game, I guess, but I feel like now, going back to playing those missions, they're going to feel a little bit out of place in the story. Like, Monica might still be alive to them and stuff like that. Like, if you played that whole Tundra mission outside of the campaign now, they're going after Monica. Monica talks to them, but Monica is dead. So, there's probably a little bit of that, sadly, post Endgame.
Yeah, it could feel a little bit weird. That is essentially the next sort of stuff that I need to do, but I am severely underleveled because as soon as you do the first of each of these, it's
Mission
like
40.
it's like you're like minus 20 away, or 25 sometimes. Right up to 40. It's like, no.
And like the bad thing about that is you need all of your heroes to be up to that level because they need to be able to help you.
So again, the only reason why we would play Hulk.
Grind that boy.
Didn't like that phrase.
Oh, well. Well, let's talk about Agony and the Anthill, which is basically an excuse to fight your first Warbot when really you've probably defeated about 60 of these by this point, which is cool. And it also ends with Hank popping in and shrinking down one of them, just a little teaser towards Ant-Man. Although the thing that I don't think, I mean, I didn't expect it, you probably did, is that he's post Ant-Man in this game. Like, he's already done the Ant-Man-ing. I kind of expected him to be working on that technology, and that was a big thing, but it's like, he's done, which means he's closer to Yellow Jacket than Ant-Man.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it kind of made sense. I don't know if I like specifically went, yeah, like he is post or pre or whatever, but I think I just sort of thought about it like he probably hasn't been Ant-Man for a while because the Avengers haven't been superheroes, and all of the superheroes are probably a little bit underground at that point in time. But they're kind of back by the end of it.
Totally.
But yeah, I think that was my thinking rather than being like, he's pre or post. Like, I don't think I specifically thought that. But
everyone's done. Everyone's already a hero unless otherwise specified.
Yeah, or retired, like Incredible style kind of thing. Like
that's right. Dingo also mentions a good point they bring up is that his DNA had been altered where he can't shrink and enlarge because plot reasons.
Oh,
yeah, they actually
I remember that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He basically will die if he does it.
Wow, I missed that part.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting how because they've got to get him back. We're getting an Ant-Man. I mean, they'll probably do Scott Lang. I'm sure.
Scott Lang, or there's another one, isn't there?
Yeah, the guy that pervs on Captain Marvel, and probably they won't do that guy. In the shower, that creepy dude. Well, we skipped over it a little bit, but Thor combat, do you like Thor as a hero?
Yeah, he's good fun. Yeah, I do like I like being able to pin people against a wall with the hammer, and then you can just go up and beat them and stuff. Yeah. He's got some cool, unique abilities in comparison to everyone else. Yeah, like I think we got excited, and a lot of people probably got excited when they announced that the guy who programmed the God of War hammer or axe or whatever was doing Thor's hammer. Doesn't quite feel the same.
No.
Definitely not the same amount of weight. But it feels like what it would look like in the movies, I guess.
Totally.
Like, because he's very just like, it's very...
Just chucks it.
Yeah, it's... I don't even know how to explain. Like, it's just very smooth.
Like casual.
Very like, yeah, kind of floaty and like... Woo, whereas the axe is very like hearty, heavy, like really, really intense. So I think it very much works for Thor, especially from what we've seen in the cinema already.
I mean, the big difference is that Thor isn't covered in the ashes of his loved ones, so that probably it just makes him a bit more light in terms of combat. He's just a bit more happy-go-lucky. Yeah. Unlike Kratos, who he had to bathe in the ashes of his wife. But yeah, it's really good fun as Thor. I am super keen to unlock more abilities with him because I feel like, look, the fact that swinging the hammer is behind a skill tree is ridiculous. So I'm sure there's a lot more cool things that are tucked away. And yeah, just throwing the hammer, and then the greatest thing about the recall is that the recall in itself is an attack. And it poses more damage. So just throwing it and bringing it back towards someone, it's like, this is sick. You could feasibly throw it, hurt that dude, knock two dudes as it comes back, and when it enters your hand, get this sick triangle attack. Like, it's great. Yeah, it's a great little chain that they get going. We might as well get to the best mission, apart from the other best missions that we mentioned, which is Rocket Man, which is rescuing someone in space. I don't know who
I kind of didn't know why we were going. I was like, it's because they kept saying
something in space.
It's a science facility in space, because she said you can scour the whole Earth, you will not find it. And then Miss Marvel goes, oh, that means it's not on Earth, it's in space. She works it out, no one else does. And so you end up going up there. In my mind, I was just like, oh, we're going up there to find out what they're doing up there. I think I missed maybe a bit of the storyline. Do they specifically say we need to go get someone?
I think they know that something of importance is there, like something that's powering the station.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Or something like that, yeah. But yeah, totally. I mean, it was very vague, but it felt cinematic. It's probably second to the Iron Man mission, the most cinematic in the game. Yeah, it's very cool arriving on the space station. I love the Star Booster armor as well, and the fact that it's damaged in that mission and like scuffed up and everything, and there's sparks coming off the gloves. I don't know how it starts working halfway through the mission, but sure. It's really fun. And I mean, yeah, look, we get there. We get to the thing. It's like Superman in... Which Superman is it in? I'm trying to remember what Superman... Maybe is it... It's probably Return of Superman. The one after Death of Superman, I think. Where they find him all skinny and frail. It's kind of like that, except Cap is totally fine. He's just kind of chilling there. He takes about 7 steps and then is completely an able man.
Totally fine. You end up controlling him from that point on, and he's just running, jumping, doing whatever the hell he needs.
It's like the Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible, just reloads his arms, and he's like, "Yep, I'm good."
Just a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. After being in cryo for like 5 years. Also, in this bit, there's a bit which is where Tony's like, "Why'd you do it, Cap?" Because it turns out that he is the one that destroyed the helicarrier on A-Day. It was his choice. And I think he just says something like, "Because there was something down in the lake and I was scared of it and we should have destroyed it." And I'm like, that's not... I mean, you caused the death and the mutation of millions of people. I don't think there was a Loch Ness monster as a good reason. Yeah,
it was a bit weird. Like, he would not, like, he's not a science guy.
No.
He would not know what effect that would have had. So that was just... It was a bad call on his part,
totally.
Really.
The Accords should be put in place, I mean, they kind of were, I guess, because of him. And they were.
Yeah. Dingo also said, I thought that it was a adaptoid factory in space. And that's sort of what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, there would be maybe more intense adaptoid science happening.
Yeah.
So there was just going to be some crazy, like, just fighting in space, and then we'd come back down or whatever, or we'd destroy some data and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, this was awesome. And then controlling Cap.
Oh, he's so much fun. Wall running.
Get out of there.
Wall running.
The wall running. That escape sequence was so good.
It was so cool.
Oh, man. But for that whole time, most of that time, except for like part of the cutscene, he doesn't have a shield, but you can throw something.
His arms try to do it.
Yeah, because I threw something.
Oh, really? Mine didn't have
something circular. There was nothing there. But something circular
did that.
Went through the air. There was like a sort of particle, like wind stream behind it.
That's funny.
And it like hit something and came back. And then
in the cutscene?
No, not the cutscene.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well before that, because I pressed and held something or whatever, or maybe pressed like one of the R2, L2,
that's funny.
L1, R1 things. And he threw something, but there was nothing there.
Well, because it's
very weird.
It's the thing of this game, which I forgot to bring up, which is what I was talking about, because you can always equip different outfits outside of the ones the game wants you to. And it was in the New Normal mission with Kamala when she's in the park. They say something like, "Look at her bag," and then they get like pissy about Inhumans. The costume I was wearing didn't have a bag in it, so I don't know why they talked about it. What happened? Do you remember? Because I don't know what was up with her bag, because I didn't have a bag.
I think the bag was just like, it was a Captain Marvel bag or an Iron Man bag or an Avengers bag. It was just like, oh, she's like, she loves the Avengers, but we hate them, so get her.
Yeah. I thought, there was like a glowing bomb or something. But
yeah, I didn't see anything in particular.
Yeah, it had an Avengers pin, that's very true.
Yeah, would have had that.
But yeah, it is quite funny because like some of Black Widow's skins, especially the trench coat one, the guns are on the outside, but there's no holsters there. So there's a lot of stuff like that where it's fine, but really sick mission, and then it's basically the last mission of the game, which is a long mission. It's it is an hour or so mission. But it's called Mayo. It's not called Mayo. What the fuck?
Mayo.
It's called Mayhem over Manhattan and Force of Mine. They kind of go together, even though it is one mission. They've got two different separate names. There's also a bit beforehand, which really confused me, which is basically building the Stark Tech suits, but the game never really tells you. It's like you've got to collect the memory chips and stuff from enemies, so you just got to do missions and gradually collect those bits and pieces. But it's not like a mission on the war table. Maybe that's what you skipped.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember doing that. Maybe I just already collected enough.
Possibly.
Or just skipped it all.
Yeah, I guess so.
Huh.
Maybe. But that's a mission before all this. But basically, AIM wants to release the big old Inhuman virus, which is going to cure people, but also is actually going to kill a lot of people. They want to just release it from a warship. It's basically an excuse to fight your first warship. This was fun. Who were you playing in this? Did this force you to be Miss Marvel?
I think I was Iron Man. I think I played as Iron Man for the rest of this game, basically, unless it forces you to change. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was just Iron Man.
That would have been a better choice because the warship has a bunch of stuff on its roof and on its sides and stuff. And man, as Iron Man, you just take that shit down. As Miss Marvel, I had to run and jump on those like fly platforms, which the game doesn't explain. I mean, I knew what they were. The game doesn't explain what they are until the next mission, but they're there. So it's very weird.
I was Black Widow. Sorry,
Black Widow.
I'm now remembering where we were. Yes, yep. Black Widow.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that was sick.
I liked taking down that warship. That was really fun. Just going on top and wailing on the bits.
Yeah, almost like a little puzzle.
Yeah, totally.
Almost. It's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that mission. And it was just cool to see daylight in a different place other than Utah, because we don't really get that much. I'm keen to play more of the war drop zone missions and stuff, because I'm sure there's lots of more returning to these maps, especially that one. I want to do some more stuff in the daylight, New York City.
Yep.
In the Docklands. That was really fun. But and basically, eventually we get to the big boss fight with MODOK, where everyone has sick Stark tech suits. There's a prelude to this boss battle, which is basically like, it's all Cap. Cap's running around and doing stuff and taking down a bunch of baddies poorly, because you've only just gotten Cap and these things are way too overpowered for you. But whatever, game. And then there's a bit where the worst bit was on the top of the thing, and there's the rock throwing Adaptoid. That dude's a bitch.
Right. Yeah.
Worst.
Yeah. And around this, I can now talk about my experience with the final mission. For a fair chunk, like a whole section or two, most of the character models just didn't render at all. Not me. Not my AI friends.
I'm hoping if you're on YouTube, you're seeing this right now. I'm keen to see it myself, but
because I have saved this, saved the video of it. So all I had was basically the particle systems and stuff that people were doing. So if they were firing stuff at you, you could see where it was coming from, and I just have to run over and start hitting that.
That's the worst.
And then a little bit after that as well, Cap's shield wouldn't render. So he was throwing stuff and you just get the red ring around the outside, flying through the air and flying back, but then it came back eventually. Odd. It was really weird and really annoying, but essentially battled 50 invisible enemies.
But then you still got the boss fights. You're fine. You still have to enjoy those.
It fixed it up later, but
Jesus,
man, this is when my PlayStation was just tanking like crazy.
I'm very happy I played this on the Pro. I want to just quickly say the Stark Tech suits, very sexy. I think they are probably some of the best suits in the game. I don't like Cap's. I think Miss Marvel's is the best out of the bunch. That's a sexy,
so shiny,
sexy
so
costume.
shiny, man.
Yeah, it's so cool. But yeah, I really like those Stark suits.
Hulk's pants are weird.
Yeah,
they're like Iron Man suit pants.
Totally,
shorts.
Totally, they've got actual knee pads and stuff.
It's so strange.
It's very strange.
You don't need to give Hulk knee pads.
No.
He doesn't need protection.
Well, maybe in this game you do.
Maybe. It's pretty soft.
The big boss battle with MODOK was really fun. Basically taking you back to A-Day, where you get a little bit of each Avenger doing their thing, which was really cool. Black Widow got the final shot until, there was another wave of it all, but she got to shoot what I will say is the first Infinity Stone. Because they were like, that thing is not there for decoration. I reckon that's the first Infinity Stone of the thing.
Interesting. Was that on
it was
an
in the
adaptoid?
middle of his head.
The giant adaptoid? Or
no,
MODOK?
It was on MODOK.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like he had an Infinity Stone.
Interesting.
Because surely if they want to do that, of course they want to make that.
Chuck it in.
Yeah. They're setting up lots in this. Ultron, Thanos, probably Yellow Jacket. They're setting up things for the future. But I feel like, the actual main boss battle of this was easy. Again, the boss battle portion of it is super simple. Like, just shoot the thing until it falls over, which is a little unfortunate. Really, the only difficult boss battle, and it's not even difficult, but the most enjoyable boss battle was Taskmaster. From then on, it's like, hit the thing until it dies.
Overall in the game, there wasn't too much, like, variety, I guess.
I guess it's the main problem a lot of people have. They probably come to it expecting a bit more variety. We came to it knowing exactly what it was, so we're disappointed, but we understand.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of fun. It's so mindless. Like, now that I've finished the campaign, I can just sit back and, like, listen to podcasts and play this game. Like, you can just do anything. It's so chill now. Yeah,
and once you finish all the endgame content or even all the iconic missions, you get little cutscenes as well, which is great. There's still more story to come, which is really exciting as well. But yeah, basically that's the end. The end credits is Monica still doing stuff with the clones. The AIM isn't gone anywhere, and that basically there's a Kree invasion on the way because a Kree Sentinel alert pod was sent into the sky. So
yes, as Dingo just said, it farts a satellite into space.
Basically,
out of its chest or face or
out
something.
Of its face. It just pops out. I do love the Kamala. I mean, I wish she had done. I thought she was going to do it. I thought she was going to, like, impale the Adaptoid over the Golden Gate Bridge's, like, spire. I was so excited. She didn't.
Yeah. But seemed to be getting close to that.
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool little fight. That was another part, though, where I was like, there was a good, like, 10 seconds of her fighting this thing.
Yep, until you got it.
Without being, like, without giving you, the quick time events. And then the quick time events was just square every time.
Yeah.
And then triangle right at the end.
Yeah, the same as the Taskmaster fight.
Yeah, it's like, just give me, like, I don't know.
Just a little
just
more.
Vary it just a little bit. Like, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dingo said, I let the MODOK sentry choke Kamala out by accident, and it was hilarious.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
I hope you captured that. I want to say that.
That's my like
Hulk.
Wondering if Hulk is going to tear Kamala apart. That's great.
That's great. But I basically got a note called shit and other references. So obviously in the final battle fight, Cap yells shit. Tony's like, did Cap just swear? And it's like,
it's so good. It's the only swear in the game that I came across, I think.
Yeah, it totally is. It's like if Umbrella Academy dropped a swear. I'm still shocked that show doesn't have more swears. It's very confusing.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's very odd. But yeah, the shit was definitely a surprise. It was really good. I really love the amount they pulled from the films. Of course, the quote at the start of the movie, "No, you move." I know it's from a comic, I know it's from Civil War, but it's definitely there because it was in the Civil War film. It's even kind of, it's spoken the way it's spoken in the film. Comic books, when you read them, they're generally however you read them, whereas the way Kamala says it is the way that Sharon says it at the funeral. So that was a cool little bit. And then also, as I said, all the character combat animations, 100% from the film, which is good fun, except for Miss Marvel, obviously. Mentions and Easter eggs. Also, the one before it is Infinity Stone and MODOK's noggin, but we already talked about that. Shuri is mentioned that she made Cap's new shield, so we've definitely got Shuri already lined up in the world. Yeah.
I have missed so much.
Joshua, you said you were looking at everything. It was in A-Day on Cap's plaque. There's a thing that says all about Cap, and one of the things is Shuri created his new vibranium shield.
That's so cool.
Yeah, which is very exciting. Phil Sheldon is, of course, throughout the game, the guy with the eye patch and the glasses, and he is from the Marvels series, which is basically from the perspective of a reporter seeing a lot of Silver Age events throughout Marvel's history, which there is no way in hell anyone knows who that is. That's not a character that anyone should know about. He's in a single series. I'm sure he's popped up elsewhere, but very obscure and very cool. I mean, it could have just been JJ. I mean, he's working for the Daily Bugle. It could have just been JJ doing a podcast, but they went hard.
yeah, absolutely. I do love how into the comics they seem to go for a lot of this. I don't know, the Shield representative that gives you the ranking points and stuff or whatever. Her last name's Morales.
That's right. Yeah, totally. I had to look it up. I'm like, is she?
yeah. But she's from the comics. Nearly every person that you end up chatting to and is like a vendor of something or whatever. They're generally in the comic books, which is sick.
That's very cool. There was quite a few Red Room mentions, which was pretty cool from Black Widow. I'm like, I don't know, maybe they don't want to touch on it because it's probably in the movie, but further Black Widow DLC could delve into her past a little bit. That'd be fun. Shadow of the Tomb Raider had young, tiny Laura, what the fuck, Will? Lara at the mansion doing stuff. Like, do that with the young Black Widow at the Red Room. Came for that. Big old Kree Sentinel, big old Kree, and also Captain Marvel throughout the game. And then everyone can lift the hammer, but Cap is the only one that can nudge it. So they've planted that seed already, which is very good.
Very, very good.
They've already lined that up, which is very exciting.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Imagine if this game... I mean, here's the question. Will they ever make a sequel, or will it always be DLC? Because, like... as it goes on, if this game goes for like 10 years and it bleeds into the PlayStation 6 or whatever, like if they want this game to have longevity, how are they going to... I guess the one upside is the PS5 and the Xbox Series X have that ability to just cross over, just put the same disc in. I guess if it continues to do that, that's their way out of it. They just do a patch for the next console. Like, are they going to make a sequel or is it just going to be this game? Like, X-Men. Will there be an X-Men game, or will it just be part of this?
For the longest time, they will just continue supporting this. That seems to be the way to go for games as a service nowadays, is just trying to make one game and just patching the crap out of that. That's what they're doing with Destiny. It's what they're doing with GTA. Those are probably the two biggest ones. Yeah, essentially, Fortnite, I guess. That's also...
That's true. GTA across 3 generations now.
Yeah, they're just still freaking pushing that crap. They can keep working on this. I think it'll be awesome if they do. Hopefully they do. Both for the bugs and just make it better. And this will be a thing that I will play for the entirety of next generation if they're still supporting it, releasing new things.
Yeah.
Pushing out new campaigns, like Dolphin Pants just said, keep the game alive, drop another 10-hour campaign.
Please.
Yeah, like if they do seasons, maybe like yearly seasons or something.
Campaign every couple of years.
Yeah, just to push it that a little bit further. I think they can do a lot with it, and since they've already set it up as a games as a service, I think they've got time to do that.
They might do solo games, and this gets updated with the solo games. Well, that's the question. Like, if they made, and they would have to make, a separate X-Men game, because the X-Men couldn't roll into this. That'd be giving people too much free content. Would you then have Wolverine from that game end up in... Like, it's a tricky thing, because you'd want to flesh out that game, but wouldn't want to feel like... And then, obviously, if you ever get to your endgame level event, you want all those characters to be there. So whether those characters would cross over between the games, it's exciting. It's the game universe they've been wanting to make forever. So, I mean, anything could happen.
Yeah, I guess they could, like, there could be an event, like a campaign at some stage, which is Avengers vs. X-Men, which turns into Avengers plus X-Men when they realize that they're actually all good. Yeah. And then you just get those characters, and then they start releasing those.
That's true.
So it's still an Avengers thing, but it was released as an Avengers vs. X-Men.
That would be sick. I mean, imagine if they did things like House of M, or like things that change, like Secret Wars, and for like 4 months, the game is fucked. Like, everything has changed for those 4 months. And then it goes back to normal. But for 4 months, like Fortnite with the Marvel things, for 4 months, the entire game world is not as you expected. Every single area is completely different. Oh, man, there's so much potential. There's so much they could possibly do.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just seem to be so embedded in the comics that, like, they would have knowledge of all the events they could do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's huge potential there.
That's true. Square Enix being the possible... Because look at the Final Fantasy. Those games never stop being updated. So, I mean, there's a strong possibility this game never goes away. It's very exciting. But sticking of exciting, sure, some of those are words. Let's talk about Patreon notes. We've got some notes from the Dolphin Pants. Obviously, we've probably gone over a lot of this, but it's just good to hear your thoughts on the things. Dolphin Pants says, each character's gameplay feels like you imagine controlling each character is. It's a very difficult sentence to say. Do better next time. The solo missions feel like you're playing a solo game. That's the thing. I almost wish their iconic campaigns were just them, and I kind of thought it was going to be just them. Like, I get it, because everyone's very hard to hit in the face. It takes multiple people to do it. But I kind of expected the iconic change to just be Black Widow or just be Hulk and stuff like that. So every time I load up and the other characters come in, I'm a bit disappointed.
His note on that is kind of what I was saying about like Thor's hammer.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't quite feel like what we were expecting because they said that it was the God of War thing, but it feels like what it should feel like.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, God. There's so much fun except for the Hulk. Story is a bit meh and predictable, but as a comic book game, I'm not expecting fantastic writing. I'm in it for a good time, and a good time I have had. Except the marketplace, which we didn't even get into because I don't think either of us have really touched it.
Not that much.
No. If the resources you need for the marketplace were plentiful, I wouldn't complain, but they really make it so you want good shit, you need to pay up, which I'm not so much of a fan of. Yeah, I haven't been able to buy anything from the few times I've looked at it. So, yeah, it is they've definitely, I mean, it's a grindy game. It's your Destiny. They want you here for the long haul.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm like going into like just trying to do all the dailies and do all those challenge cards and stuff like that because they give you credits.
They do. Well, they do now. They didn't at first.
Oh, really?
I don't. Yeah, for me, I still haven't gotten any credits out of it. They're slowly rolling it out to people, but yeah, originally the challenge cards did not work.
Oh, because early on, I think I got to Kamala's fourth one. The fourth one has credits, like 100 credits. So it's only a small amount, but
so maybe it's as with all of the bugs in this game, sporadic. Some people have it, some don't. But
yes.
But yeah, the marketplace horrible. We're probably not going to touch it. We're in it for whatever else, the actual game. Also, decent sized chunk of gameplay took place in elevators. Now I'm all for hiding loading screens, but that wasn't even hiding. Hulk in the elevator just goes against everything Avengers Endgame told me, and I don't agree with it. If you saw my first play, you saw that we replicated Avengers Endgame where Hulk didn't get in the elevator, which was very funny.
Good. Yes.
Dingo follows on from that elevator comment by saying, "Fun fact: the elevators don't move; the world moves around the elevators," and it's pretty cool to see because there's been some boundary break things. But basically, yeah, the world is sliding over the elevator.
Yeah, right.
Which
Okay.
is pretty funny. Obviously,
cool.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because elevators in games don't generally do the thing you expect. But and it's the same with the train sequence in one of the missions. Basically, the whole world is just sliding along the train.
Yeah, right.
Which is quite
That's
funny.
so weird.
It's very funny to see.
I've always thought about that, like doing that kind of thing when I've made things in Unity and stuff. I'm like, well, I need my character to move, but should I move the world around the character or should I move the character around the world?
Yeah.
And it didn't make sense to move the world.
Yep.
But I guess sometimes it does, and I don't know why. You'd have to essentially tell every single object inside a thing that it needs to move. Whereas if it's just an elevator and a few characters, that's only like 5 things that need to move.
You'd think you just put some MOV files on the outside of the elevator, right?
Yeah, even something like that. Just unload everything around it and reload it above, but hide everything in between. That's so strange.
It's a very odd choice, but yeah. I mean, this game is not optimized. I found my favorite characters were Thor, Cap, and Iron Man, and found myself never playing Kamala, Hulk, or Widow past the times I had no other choice to. It's very interesting. I mean...
Didn't play Widow?
Yeah, I don't get that.
What?
I don't understand that, Dingo. You don't play the best character in the game?
What are you doing, mate?
Crazy, man. I don't see there being much replayability as a games as a service until they release a new story. I guess... that's less that there isn't and more that you don't subscribe to a games as a service thing. Because if you're waiting for new story, then you're not subscribing to it. Because games as a service is existing to be that. To be a thing that after it finishes, you grind and grind and grind until the next story. So, and that's totally fine. I mean, I generally don't like it. I know you are also... I mean, you love to grind on your mobile phone. But generally in games, it's like finish all the core objectives and the side objectives and you're done.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of games that I play, like console games that I sit at home that don't have a very clear like story progression. I think you and I are very much into story-driven games and stuff. Because this has a Marvel coat of paint, I'm all in. Like, it has my heart.
And also, it's never going to end. By the time we finished all the Warzone missions and the iconic stories, the next DLC will be out. So it's fine. We'll be good. But totally fair if you don't want to grind on the things because it's a type of gameplay that not a lot of people enjoy. Although, as Dolphin Pan says, you do more grinding in the Avengers than in Tony Hawk.
That was very, very good.
Very clever.
Great pun.
I also found that without other players, my NPC teammates would sometimes just not fight, and therefore I'd find myself being juggled because all the aggro is on me only. I didn't quite find that as much. I feel like they didn't really flock to me Like, I definitely, as moving around the battlefield, everyone seemed to be doing their own thing. And, like, the enemies were on different people.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't find much aggro kind of happening either. It's very much an MMO sort of thing. But yeah, the bad guys just seem to target whoever.
Yeah, whoever they're nearest.
Whenever. Yeah, like, or even like sometimes they would just swap.
Yeah, totally.
If you're attacking, like, it'd be attacking Hulk for a while, and then it would just be like, oh, I'll just attack you now instead, or whatever. Like, they seem to swap. I don't know if maybe there is an aggro system, and it's just like you've done more DPS than Hulk has then done, so therefore now it's focusing on you because you've attacked it more. It just kind of seems maybe a little bit like random almost.
Yeah, possibly.
Not entirely sure.
The dodge mechanic, the dodge mechanic is a little bit rough. The dodge mechanic is terrible. You can be sniped with no warning, especially as flying characters, and since they put the dodge abilities behind the skill tree, it ruins the combat flow. It is wild, the things they lock behind the skill tree. It's very typical of this type of game, so it's hard to knock it, but that also isn't a excuse. Like, just don't do that.
Yeah, the other thing I'm still having problems with, I had problems with it in the beta, and I'm still always having problems with it, is jumping over the shield enemies. Yeah. Like the enemies with a shield. Like, half the time that just doesn't work, and I'm just running into an enemy with a shield. And then they just hit you, and you're like, no, I'm trying to jump over you. I'm pressing and holding O. Which is such a strange choice. It is. Like, it should be, if you're facing an enemy and you press dodge, you'll jump over them. Like, just tap it or whatever. Like, man, it's so frustrating. It just doesn't work. Which is one of the best things about any character that can throw things. You just throw the thing at their feet and it breaks the shield. It's so good. Oh, especially Thor. It's great. It's so good. Just throw the hammer at his foot and he's fucked. Iron Man's best abilities is the rocket tree, and he's got a rocket tree, and that's where I had the most fun, except when I get sniped out of the sky and fall to the floor, so I have to reset my distance shooting. I hate it, but I also don't think I had it as much as a lot of people have been saying. I feel like I'm not saying I'm better at the game. As we've said, it's a very randomized game in terms of combat, so I feel like you just sometimes get the luck of the draw or the not luck of the draw, because I had a lot of like getting sniped out of the sky, not to the point where I was like chucking my controller away like in frustration, but but and that's pretty much the game, really. That's it. I think we've talked about absolutely everything in the game. I will say there is one bit I don't want us to go too deep into that we didn't talk about, which is harm rooms. They're great. Oh, so much fun. So just mindless. Like, don't even have to think. They're good for grinding the challenges, actually, which is great. The dailies and weeklies. And the best thing about those challenges, exit the mission once you've got them. Don't have to play the whole mission. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good bit of those. Harm rooms are great. Wish there was different looks, like just different layouts. That would be great. Yeah, that would be so good. Yeah. Or like even every wave. Like every wave, they could just the platforms could just change. Bit of Matrix. Even if they like, because a harm room, it's all holographic. Yeah. Make it look like a location. Totally. Make it look like a city, a forest, anything. You could do so much more with it. Yeah. What's the X-Men's one? They got the harm room. What do they call it? It's something else like that. But totally you and I aren't going to remember that. No, it's X-Men. It's X-Men. We don't care. But we love this thing. We're big old nerds. Look at I was going to say rooms. I was going to look at Josh's chest and look at my room. We love these things. We're going to have fun, and it's a harmless game. I know people get angry about the microtransactions, but in my hours, apart from the $30 I paid because I just really wanted a skin, you don't need them at any point. Not at all. So like, sometimes it's annoying. Like, I want that thing and it looks cool, but like, you don't need it. It's not going to help. It's not going to affect anything. It's all cosmetic. Just calm down and enjoy the game. Dolphin Pants mentions the DLC and the wish list. I think that needs its own podcast to discuss the things we want in this game, because after this, we've got a lot to talk about. I mean, this is already a 2-hour podcast. You don't need more of us. It is a little bit long. The only other thing that I saw before was just Aloe asking, when is the next DLC coming out? And I feel like you have that information. I don't have it on me. I believe it's October. Is it October? Yeah. I thought it was, October or November-ish.
Yeah, I think it's October, every 2 months, basically.
Kate Bishop first? Or both?
Kate Bishop, I feel like it might be both, because the rumor is that we get 2 characters a drop. Yep. So I think it's both of their little stories. And October, because it's basically, every 2 months we should get a little bit of thing.
Very good. And hopefully by then the challenge cards will be fixed, which then if you do enough, you can earn the amount of credits that it takes to buy their premium challenge cards.
Hell yeah.
Which is 1,000 credits each, I think.
Yeah.
And apparently if you do pay the $10 for the challenge card, the premium ones for the characters that will be released in time, and then complete all of their challenge cards, you get all of that 1,000 credits back.
That you can just essentially on the other characters.
Yeah, essentially you only need to spend like $10 at a time. Or $10 once. Yeah. Or even not.
Totally, yeah.
Even not if you just complete, if you complete all the Avengers ones and save all that for
the future heroes.
The future heroes, you never have to spend any more money if you don't spend it on skins.
We're not going to do that. We'll probably just pay for all of it, but it's fine.
Well, there'll be money spent eventually, just not quite yet.
No. But if you want to do things quite now, you can check out us on YouTube at youtube.com/each-of-their-own if you aren't already there. And if you are there, you can jump on over to Spotify. I'm not going to say that URL again. It's linked down below in this YouTube video. Look, we're getting back to content. I made an extra video that wasn't a podcast last week. It's big news, everybody.
It's pretty good. And if you want to watch these recorded live and talk along with us, you can jump over to patreon.com/each-their-own. Just $2, whatever you can afford, if you can. Then that will help. You can jump over to our super secret Discord from there and have a chat about memes now, apparently, art, Lego.
I caved. Oh, I've got to make that art channel.
Yeah. There's going to be an art one soon. We got Lego. We have just general gaming, movies, comics, all these streams, all this stuff. It's good. It's a good time. It's a good time. I'm there twice. That's how good it is.
Josh is there twice.
I got business me and normal me over there.
Mullet Josh and not mullet Josh. It's very exciting on the Discord. So please, if you have money to spare, jump on over there. Look, we don't need to advertise anything on this. No one cares. But until the next one, I have been Will.
And I have been Josh. Fairly well, everybody.